What is up? It has been a couple of months since I've released anything on the channel. I'm a little bit nervous to be making this right now for some reason. The reason I haven't made anything has mostly just been a combination of life stuff mixed with not really knowing what to do on this channel. And for the longest time, I had this thing in my head that was like, when you're doing YouTube, you need to have like a niche. And I did. Originally, I actually had a niche on this channel and it was making videos about like personality type stuff. That's really how I built most of my audience here. And then after a while, I lost interest in that for the most part and just started speaking off the cuff about more sort of like emotional work kind of topics. And then I just released these little rambles here and there, and only a few people have watched them. And honestly, I guess I've always kind of had it in my head that I need to have a niche. That was until recently, and specifically I was thinking about this last night. I just realized that what I'm interested in making videos about, if I was going to make videos at all, is really just like having a form of expression on YouTube, a video diary, video journal. I guess that's maybe why the channel's called Express This. I just want to be able to express what I'm interested in. And in a sense, I kind of always have done that. You know, when I made personality type videos, that's what I was interested in. When I made emotional work videos, that's what I was interested in. When I made my first few videos just rambling incoherently, that's what I was interested in. And I've decided, just as a commitment purely to myself, that from now on, when I make YouTube videos, I'm just going to make what I want to make and talk about what I want to talk about. And even if one person sees that, that's going to be okay from now on. And yeah, I don't know. It seems like I'm kind of like rationalizing this, and I think I'm like rationalizing this to myself because I've had that belief for so long that I've needed to make videos for a certain kind of purpose. So from now on, starting with this video, I'm just going to follow my heart a little bit more with this. So I'm going to give you a bit of an update on what's been going on for me. So over the last couple of months, it's been sort of like a few bigger things have happened. And then also at the same time, it feels kind of like uneventful and quiet, if you know what I mean. One thing that happened was I was dating someone for the first time in a long time who I really liked. I got out of my last serious relationship around just under 2 years ago now. And since then, everyone I've dated since then has been like a very casual they've been like casual kind of flings. But I met this girl and I just really liked her, and for the first time in a long time I could see a relationship between the two of us that was a bit more serious. And I guess I was just really into her. You know, I loved the way she dressed. I loved her little interests, and just like she was just a really cool person to be around, and someone I actually really started to care about quite quickly. And I think she felt the same way with me, and we got into one of those things where like we went on a date, ended up spending the whole night together, and then from then on it was like every weekend we'd be like hanging out all weekend. It was one of those like really quick intermeshed kind of things. And when you do that with someone, what I notice, I've done that a couple times with people, it's like you skip a lot of the paving work to a relationship because you've kind of gone straight to the more intimate stuff. And I'm not saying that's a problem. It's just what I observe about it. You go straight to the more intimate stuff in the relationship. It kind of feels like you've already known one another for a really long time. So it's like the more basic stuff about getting to know one another has to catch up with the heart core of the relationship, which is like this intimacy and connection. So I think we did the like emotional connection and closeness really well quickly, but then on a personal level, like we were still catching up to one another, if that makes any sense whatsoever. And yeah, after like a month and a half of this, I started to notice that on those personal levels, we actually had a lot of differences, which is fine. Differences obviously are good. It creates contrast, but the way we had those differences, I often just felt like we were in a different space. And I didn't really know how to express this. And when I would try, I didn't really feel like I was getting anywhere with it. Not that she didn't listen. She was a good communicator, and I think she did actually try to hear what I meant. It was just this sense that I didn't really feel like we could connect at some level, or I'd feel distant, which is a problem that I have sometimes when I'm with someone in a friendship or a relationship. People I'm close to, I guess, I can kind of like recede out of the thing. And I noticed that was happening quite a lot when we were together. And then essentially after nearly 2 months, one night we ended up having, I guess, didn't really feel like an argument, but just kind of a bunch of little things that were kind of like not really working. And essentially after getting a bit upset, I just said, like, it kind of just came out of my mouth. I was like, I think we should see other people. And it was quite harsh at the time, I think, for both of us when I said it, but it also felt organic right away. Like, it felt like the right thing to say. It felt like I couldn't swallow that back. And yeah, I won't go into all more details, but essentially I was like, I found out about something as well with her that, like, I'm not saying I don't think she did anything wrong as such. It's just something that didn't really sit well with me. And then, yeah, I guess actually after that, like, we just haven't spoke again, and that ended. So this is a little relationship that was just over. And that actually ended, I probably released a video after that, come to think of it, because I think that we broke up or stopped seeing one another. We were never exclusive, like 2 months ago. So there was that. Outside of that, I've also, I will just show you, I've got a couple of tattoos for like the first time in my life. I've never like got a tattoo. I'm 26. And although a lot of my friends like were getting tattoos when I was younger, I just never was interested. But I got this, I don't know if you can see, it's like it's a butterfly, but it's like the Lorenz butterfly. If you know what that is. If you don't, you can look it up if you're interested. The Lorenz butterfly, like, it's the weather pattern logo connected to a butterfly, and I just thought that was beautiful, so I really wanted that. And then the first one I got was this, which everyone says looks like a baseball or a tennis ball. Bit discouraging. It's not what I was intending. It's actually just some like abstract line work because I really like that style. And yeah, I have some. So just put on my jacket real quick. It's cold as fucking here. It is actually cold. I have some ideas about what I'd like to do next as well, so I've been enjoying that. I actually really like the feeling for some reason of getting a tattoo, which was kind of surprising. Like, I know obviously, like, if you've got a tattoo or not, I don't know if you have them or not, but like, in my head, I kind of imagined like, oh, getting a tattoo would be quite painful. I even thought about getting numbing cream. But then when I actually did it, and I didn't get numbing cream, when I actually did start getting it, I was like, oh, weirdly, I actually enjoy this. Like, it kind of brings me into a lot of presence very quickly. It's kind of like an intimate experience. Like, it doesn't hurt in the way I thought. Like, it's painful, but it's a pain that I can seem to center in on. And a lot of people have told me that this area is actually quite bad. Like, when I told my cousin I got this tattoo, he was like, oh, that hurts like a motherfucker, doesn't it? And I was like, no, not really. Like, actually, it was okay. So, but my brothers told me apparently the legs, or like the backs of your legs, are just dreadful. So maybe I'll get a small one on the back of my leg or something just to see if that's the case. But yeah, so there's that. And I think I did mention in like the last video I released that I've been stretching my ears. So I've been doing that way too quick. I found out too late that I'd been like doing it all the wrong way, but right now things seem to be okay. And yeah, but yeah, with stretching your ears, if you know anything about that, you have to do it at the right time, and I just haven't, but hopefully things are okay. On top of that, I have been on a binge reading novels by Jonathan Franzen. My camera's actually resting on the book that I'm reading of his right now. Actually, I bought his book Purity. I've never heard of this author. I actually just bought the book sheerly on a whim because I kept picking up books and not finishing them. And I was like, whatever the next book that I pick up is, I will finish it. Even if it's terrible, I will finish it. And I picked up Purity by him, read like 100 pages of it and didn't like it. And then it was weird, like the point between like 100 to 150, I started to get into it. And then by like 200, 300 pages, and quite a big book, it's like 550 pages. All of his books are quite big, actually, come to think of it. But by the time I got to like 300 pages in, I was like so drawn in. There was there's multiple characters in every one of his books. And there was like 2 characters in the book that I really related to and found interesting. So I finished that book and I just really like savored the end. I actually started to just love it by the end. And so I bought another book of his, Crossroads, finished that quite quickly in like a few weeks probably. That was a very big book. I think it was like 600 pages. And I stayed up at night reading that. Like I read that quicker than I'd usually read a book because I was just enjoying it so much. Finished that. I finished it and I literally like held it to I was saying this to my sister the other day. I like held it to my chest. I was like some old like 1940s housewife is the image in my mind. I was just like, oh, Crossroads. It was actually a beautiful book. So I highly recommend that. And now I'm reading The Corrections, which is one of his older books. And you can tell, like, I'm only like 40 or 50 pages in. But even just a little bit I'm in, you can tell, like, stylistically, it's very different from what the Purity and Crossroads were newer books. This is one of his older books. And you can tell how his style has developed over time. So, yeah, I've been really enjoying that. I've not been finding that I can read nonfiction as much for some reason. I've started Integral Psychology by Ken Wilber, and I was enjoying it, but I just didn't go anywhere with it. And now I'm reading also the selected writings of D.T. Tezuki, which is like a Zen book. Really enjoyed the first bit of it that I read. I just can't seem to find traction with it. So, I think what I'll do is I'll just make myself read 10 or 15 pages of it, and then the momentum will do the work for me instead of like trying to align with it. But so that's what I've been reading. Outside of that, I've been painting. I haven't painted in a couple years, but I was with a friend recently and we just decided we were going to do some painting, but we didn't, but we bought all the stuff. So because they didn't really seem that plussed about it, I was like, I'm just going to do this shit by myself. So I used to love painting. I used to like painting abstract stuff more. But what I did is I actually just started painting stills. So I'll do like a design of like a room, or I'll take a picture with the camera I'm using to film this, my Canon EOS R50D or whatever the fuck. Take a nice picture and then I'll like paint the base, which doesn't take too long. But then what I seem to want to do is like sit there for hours detailing everything, like making these little still lives. And there's something like, it's like adorable, intense, and very stimulating for me. Like it's like creating this little world and doing all these little details. I never thought that I would like doing that in painting because I'm not a very like detail focused kind of guy, I guess, if you believe that your art is an expression of your personality in the way that I do. But yeah, there's just something about it, like creating the big picture and then filling in all those details over hours. Like some days right now I'm just spending like 5 to 6 hours like detailing these little works. And I might make videos about some of the paintings I do. I don't know. I'm thinking about doing an Instagram as well for that, and just like any art stuff that I do, like photography, painting, or even certain videos I might do. I might make an Instagram for that. So just let me know actually if you want to see all that. And I might put like stuff I'm reading and pictures I'm doing and stuff on an Instagram and connect it to this. And also I don't have a personal Instagram. So it would also be a way I could talk to my friends who are always like, bro, you should have Instagram so we can send you reels and shit. Beyond that, work has been kind of slow because of a break that I have never really explained where I worked. Maybe that's a thing for another time. Basically, like, there's a break happening at where I work, so I haven't been getting as many shifts, but I have a couple of upcoming shifts at the end of the month that came up randomly. So that's all good, which means I'll be able to pay my bills, which is good. um, yeah, on top of that, what else? Sometimes I think about making videos about Zen, but it's kind of one of those topics where like it doesn't seem to really warrant speaking about, but I'm still practicing Zazen every day. I sort of oscillate between doing the Kana koan practice and the Shikantaza style. But to be honest, I think sitting Shikantaza, or if you know what that is, it's just like natural meditation. It's just sitting eyes closed with like no focus point and just I heard someone explain it recently as having absolutely no agenda. And I think that's the best way of explaining it. It's just agendaless sitting. There's something that's closer to my heart about doing that than doing kana for some reason. Like just that actual, like the ease of just sitting with whatever comes up. It's the simplest thing in the world, but there's so much subtlety to it. And I guess the more that I practice that over time, I start to see some of like these subtleties of the human experience that come up. And yeah, that's been really interesting as per. So I've been doing that. And I think that's pretty much everything that I want to share. It's felt really nice just saying all this stuff. And like I said, I think I'm usually so anxious about what videos I'm going to do, because I think initially I had this idea that I was going to like turn my YouTube into some kind of like business or something, like years ago when I started it. But really at this point in my life, I think more than anything else, it almost makes me want to cry saying this. I feel like there's a surge of emotion in saying this. I think more than anything else, I just want to be able to fucking be myself. I don't know why it's making me so emotional, man. I think for like a really long time, like I've sometimes like not known how to do that, you know? Like I feel like I've been trying to be the thing that I should be and not really the thing that I am. And yeah, I think sometimes I just want to be able to show up as I am. And I'm literally just speaking this up as it comes to me, by the way. Like if it sounds really incoherent, that's just the way it is. But I think sometimes I've become so used to being the thing that I feel like I need to be. And when you say that, it sometimes seems obvious, but I think there are like subtle ways that your persona or your superego can manifest itself, where like it's like your truer self blends or identifies with that superego or persona so seamlessly that you actually can't distinguish them, if that makes sense. And then like it's like you don't know how to detach from something that's actually sucking the life out of you. And recently, I feel, if I could say one more thing on what's been happening recently, I feel like that's become clearer to me than it ever has before. And the way in which that's come forth is actually from being alone. Like, yeah, I hang out with friends or go on dates and stuff, like, you know, maybe once or twice a week. 3 times a week. I see my housemate. I still like make myself talk to people when I go out. It's like some old pattern that I've built. It's like saying hi and starting conversations with people. Sometimes that ends really interestingly. I actually had a really interesting encounter with someone that I just started a conversation with someone, and we ended up spending like a couple days. I don't know. Anyway, story for another time. Being alone has been helping me recently, I think, come more authentically into who I am. There's a kind of security that comes in being okay, being alone. And yeah. I'm gonna shut my face. I think I've done. Fucking cried, given an update, talked about Zen, reading books, my relationship. I think that's everything. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you're watching, I am going to be making more stuff soon. I know I always say that, but I actually think I am going to be making more stuff soon. It might surprise you. I might make a book review. I might make a recipe. I might make stuff talking about my tattoos. I don't know. But something will probably come recently. Soon. I'm flustered. Thanks for watching. I hope you're having a beautiful day, and I'll see you very soon.